So, hey future me, watching this, seeing this in the hard drive and just like, oh yeah, I forgot to post this.
TheMcCordPhone.
I know what you guys are thinking, you're like, what? I thought Winning Wednesday was over for this season and it wasn't coming back till like September. Yeah, that's true, but we have a lot of bonus footage, for behind the scenes stuff from the finale. But something I wanted to talk about is like, I wanted to do this improv episode and just talk about something that happened to me today. School has been my life lately, and today I went to take the ACT, I know, and it was a crazy day. There's a lot of just little stories and details I have about the ACT, and that's why I wanted to make this video while it was fresh on my mind, and I'll post it like sometime during the summer probably. The ACT, like, I've been preparing for this stupid test for months, right? For like 4 months, I've been doing ACT prep online, and, you know, it's good. I'm probably better at the test than I would have been, but it still sucked, because it's a test. So, we got up about 6 in the morning. I got ready before it was 7 so we could drive down to the Hardee's and get something to eat. And I had, like, packed a lunch and everything. So, we drove down to the school where we take the ACT. And I've been to this school before. It's the school that my ex goes to. She was there today, like she was at the ACT test, and I've described how incredibly awkward an encounter with an ex is before on the Valentine's video. So I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for the test to start because we missed the time last time, and so I was super early this time. So I went into my testing room. It's like everyone has their own room. It's not like everyone has their own individual room, but we get paired with a bunch of people, and we take the test. We get, like, numbered seats and all that. So I'm sitting there for, like, 40 minutes in a chair waiting for the test to start. You have to wait till it's 8, and it's, like, 7:14 when I walked in the building. So I'm sitting there, and sitting there, and sitting there, and sitting there. Then all these people start walking in, and they have, like, the same seats as people that are already sitting there. They're like, oh yeah, I've got H8 as well as you. And so then the teacher had to go and, like, I call him the teacher. I don't know. I don't go to school. I don't really have, I'll call him Mr. Evans, because that's his name. Mr. Evans went to go get the guy who signed us all in and, like, sort out all the seats and stuff. And so a bunch of people moved to the F room, and, like, a bunch of people were a bunch of seats were double booked. Even mine was double booked. And I started noticing that all of the people in my room were having to move, and I was like, I don't really want to move. Please don't move me. Also, there's a cool Doctor Who girl in here. Don't move me. Thankfully, I just got to sit where I was at and go into test mode. And so then we proceeded with the 30 minutes of the guy telling us all the guff before we started the test. Hello, I'm Mr. Evans. We're about to start the ACT. Fill in the circle with a soft lead pencil, soft number 2 pencil that you were supposed to bring. I have some here if you don't have them. Fill in the circle all the way completely in. There's a chart that tells you how not to fill it in. Don't fill it in like that. Fill it in like I'm telling you to fill it in. You are only allowed to use such and such calculators. A T98 calculator by Texas Instruments is forbidden. Once I've called time on a test, you're not allowed to go back and fill in circles on that test because of... And so he's spouting all this nonsense. I know what standardized tests are. We have them sometimes in homeschool, and I did a couple in, like, 2nd grade. And these high schoolers have got to be sick and tired of standardized tests. I mean, come on, they know to fill in the bubble. They've been doing standardized tests their whole life. And finally, we're almost to the part where we can open the book and do the test. After we filled in our name and filled in the dots corresponding to every letter in our name and so forth, filling in our zip code and our phone numbers and, you know, all of that nonsense. And finally, Mr. Evans is like, alright, you may now break the seal on the side of your test packet, but do not open the book. Seriously? They've sealed the ACT shut. Really? Like, seriously? Are you kidding? Just a lot of the stuff he said and a lot of the stuff that he had. I mean, I know it's not him that's saying it. It's stuff that he has to say or he gets fired from his job. But it's just ridiculous, like some of the stuff they have to say. Everyone understands what he's saying, okay? He doesn't have to go through it like 65 times. And I know that those things are there for a reason, but it's like, ugh. And the other thing that he does is he offers a calculator, right? But he offers it at the very beginning before we start the ACT. And the math test is second, and he goes like this. If you need a calculator, I have calculators here. Please pick one now. You cannot pick one later. I cannot give you batteries for the calculator. I can help you in absolutely no way. You're absolutely freaking on your own. Even if I need a calculator, you're saying this now, before the English test. First of all, we're not even allowed to use a calculator on an English test. And secondly, if I need a calculator then, how am I supposed to know now? So finally we break the seal on our books, we open them up, I do the English test, everything's going pretty smoothly, he calls 5 minutes, I don't get the chance to answer a couple of questions, but I get most of them. Then we go on to the math test, and math is by far my worst subject ever, right? Like, I suck at math, and I've talked about this on the internet before, how awful I am at math. I don't have a graphing calculator. I have like a normal calculator. And so I didn't take his because I don't even know how to use a graphing calculator. It's beyond me. And if I had picked up his calculator, I probably wouldn't even know how to multiply on it. So I just stuck with like the very basic calculator that we have. It's basically on every one of your phones. So I sit there doing the math questions I can do, basic algebra, multiplication, some percentages and fractions and such. But the rest of the questions are like questions of triangles and probably graphing in there somewhere. I don't know what graphing looks like because I've never done it. You might as well be speaking Mandarin because I have no idea what this is about. In fact, let me read some of the questions I got in Mr. Evans' voice. Triangulate the hypotenuse of a square circle and divide by x. Now divide the quadrilateral binding jumper to the skizzy wickle whack. The other thing I noticed about Mr. Evans is that he was obviously probably the cool teacher there at the school. He was a very young guy. He doesn't speak anything like I portray him. You know, he seemed kind of cool and laid back. He wasn't like wearing sunglasses or he wasn't like the Fonz or anything. I don't know why that's my definition of cool. I'm 17. He seemed like the cool teacher though. He was like, you know, he's kind of young. I wouldn't say he was laid back, but he was like definitely reserved. Like he didn't have much to say. The ACT stuff like kind of forced him to say all that, you know. And the last thing that kind of made him seem like he was probably the cool teacher that everyone liked is that like he took his shoes and socks off and like I don't know, maybe he wasn't wearing like tennis shoes, maybe he was wearing sandals, but he was like walking around the room barefoot, and you kind of notice because you're looking down the whole time. So we did our tests. I did pretty well in science, even though I didn't think I would. Basically, I left out of the building, and I don't have a cell phone. I don't know if you guys know that, but I don't have a cell phone. And so I was like kind of there, and I was like waiting for my mom, and I couldn't see her. You know, when I got there 3 hours earlier, the parking lot was cleared out because it was like 8 a.m. When I left at about noon, the parking lot was just insane. Like, there was all these people going to the park near the school, and just all these people were like crowded in, and it was like insane, and I just didn't know. I was like, ah! And then I walked back up to the school building, and I was trying to get in, and Awkward X let me in, and I said hi, you know, hey, and I went and found an adult and asked for a phone, and they gave me a phone. It totally didn't work, and so I kind of just walked into the park and walked back out looking for my mom, and finally I saw her, and it took us like 10 minutes to get out of there, but finally we did. And we went to Target, and that's pretty much the ACT. This is probably going to be a short video, but it's a summer video for you guys, behind the scenes season finale stuff, because if I release this with the rest, it will mess up the plot of season 1 and 2. So, thank you everyone for watching. I love you guys so much. I freaking adore you guys, but I had to go away for school, and this ACT thing is like crazy public school, and also I just want to say, Dr. Who Girl, if you're out there, I think you're really awesome, and I've got a bow ties or cool bracelet. I showed it to you earlier. I don't know if you saw it. Maybe you're watching this. Whatever. I like your shirt. Cool. I'm Brian McCord. High five, McCordians. Bye. Takes over into the next. The last good remnants of... If I was your boyfriend, I'd never let you go. What was the lyrics again? We're gonna read about it's about a superhero who can control water. It's called Rain Man 2, Attack of His Dad. For their crimes against humanity. This is Music Theory, Volume 1. Pop music. For the most part, I hate music in the mainstream.